This is episode number 27, Oneness. Oneness. What a paradox. Many throughout history has tried to teach or reference the understanding of reality and its interconnectedness. Some people try to relate oneness to New Age teachings. But in my experience, New Age is the same old BS that the Old Age was. New Age is this hierarchy that is no different than the old hierarchy of separation. Oneness is obviously the opposite of separation. Therefore, there can be nothing above you or below you because everything is equal, all on the same playing field, the same level. So, this New Age, this labeling of higher dimensions, just because it has a higher number doesn't mean it is higher than somebody that is 3D, like 5D consciousness, 6D, 7D. These terms are okay because you're just trying to use words to explain things that there's not really quite a vocabulary for. But one has to understand that just because 5 is higher than 3, there is not a ladder or a higher standpoint to resonate at a different degree. 5 is not better than 3. They are just different. Dimensionality has to be true, but there's no hierarchy to it or label. All is one. We come from the very one frequency, the one light, from what we would call the Big Bang, which was everything coming back together as one to re-immerse into infinite expressions, such as the snake eating his tail. This is ancient. It's not New Age. There's nothing new about it. It is some of the oldest mystic teachings is oneness, such as the Kabbalion, Hermetic teachings. The very first rule of the very first principle of the Hermetic teachings is the all is mind. So that means we live in it's a reference of living in a giant brain, which basically is the reality in essence is a infinite potential quantum manifestation simulation in a way. We live in a brain, but you possess the eyes for that brain. The all is everything, or God. This is where the idea of God comes from. Everything is the all. Everything is what you would call God, or that energy of all things. You can't not see what we would call God, or the expression of the all that we live inside of and are a piece of and completely connected to, between one another and all the cosmos as above, so below, throughout any known existence and unknown existence. We live in the infinite now. There's so much symbology all across the world that relates to this now, this 0 point. Now science is catching up with what we would call ancient mystic teachings, and correlating to some newer ideas that spirituality has come to, which is oneness. This this oneness that quantum science has hit the same paradox that is oneness, that everything is connected. The old science view was Newton's laws, Newtonianism, which is separation and finite. You can measure everything down to its smallest particle, and it's definite. It's that always. You can measure everything, and put it in this little box, all of creation. And this is the same thing, that this separation, this finite idea has trickled down from science to everyday life. Religion and politics. We draw imaginary lines in the sand, and we discriminate against one another because of belief systems and color of the skin, but that's because the political structure has specifically used that divide and conquer mentality against you, or used it against yourself in your learning experience of figuring out that all is one, and you can connect with the allness, the oneness, the 0 point, the one source frequency, the quantum essence of creating whatever you would like in this material plane. And that is that 0 point. That is the quantum essence to reality. It's all the information. We would call it consciousness if we were to give it a word. We would call it consciousness to give it a word, a grid, consciousness grid. I'm a computer nerd, so I've got some cool references here for you guys for consciousness and the interconnectivity of humans in our natural process to create things, how nature is created. So think of yourself as a computer before the internet. You had your own set programs that was on a disk that you had to install on the computer, on the local drive, a local database per se. And so whenever you're disconnected from your awareness, or less conscious, less connected to your inner knowing, your inner light, your inner truth, or ego base. There's many references to this lack of connection. We would call it local connection, just connected to yourself, your 5 senses, your computer without the internet. You only have what is installed on the local drive. So whenever you are less aware, you are running off of local information, information that someone has told you or taught you, be it the school system, religious structures, or political systems. You're running off of that information. But you can hook this up to the internet, which is like consciousness. It's every computer connected to one another, because this is what you are. You are a quantum computer. And this oneness paradox seems to be pretty mind-rattling to everybody. Like almost like go put me in a straitjacket and lock me up in a nut house. The further you fall down the rabbit hole of what reality is and the oneness, and that this is kind of you kind of created all this. Kind of makes people think they're batshit crazy and need a straitjacket. I mean, the further you go, the crazier it seems. For in essence, one way to look at it is, one of my favorites to use is I am you, telling you exactly what you need to hear to remember who you are. I am just a reflection of you. But that seems to be mind-boggling. That sends you down the crazy spiral sometimes, and a lot of people struggle with that oneness idea. Some people feel like they lack their individuality because of it. Everyone is a unique expression of this one source. Everything you see, nature, everyday interaction with one another, your brothers and sisters, these are all expressions of that one source that we all originate from. But everything from the beginning, that very one light that refracts through the prism into all of its expressions, which is us and everything around us that we can see and that we can't see. You and us are all expressions of that very beginning, that very one. And so whenever you contemplate and correlate all the religions and all the symbology from everything known that we have, and you take off the filter of the perception that you've been downloaded onto your local drive, your home-based computer, and you're connected to the internet, and you're connected to the inside of you. You're beginning to fall down the rabbit hole of who am I and what am I here for, and you get the oneness paradox of all is one. It's just these slight little nudges to becoming more conscious, more aware of who and what you are. So luckily you have science and quantum mechanics. This is starting to touch on a lot of these things, but one of the big things that you have is that you can find all these answers inside of yourself, and the more you discover inside of yourself, the more reflection of affirmation and synchronicities that will come at you, because this is the quantumness of self-discovery. All of this was created to push you inside of yourself. All that old paradigm, that Newtonianism, that separation materialism, only being connected to your physical senses, your local drive, your cell phone when it doesn't have service on it, and no Wi-Fi, the local drive. All of this experience that you've created for yourself to be here now in this transition, as we start to spiritually grow up, and understanding that we are all one and that we are all connected, is connecting to consciousness. It's like getting service on your cell phone, or hooking up to the internet, where all computers are together. Well, guess what? As soon as you start to go inward, you're going to connect to consciousness, which is all thoughts and knowledge of all time is consciousness. You are a computer. If you were to walk around with your cell phone on record, that's a good representation of you. You're carrying it around in your hand. This is what you're doing every day through life. We live in a giant mind, and you hold the physical eyeballs and the physical touch, smell, hear, senses of this all, this mind, this God, the one source. And so you are walking and recording everything, experiencing that very thing. This is why everything around you responds to you, and quantum science has proven this. Everything has a million possibilities of its placement, and it is only in its space that you see it when you are observing it, because you are one of the corners of the triangle of the Trinity. You are one viewpoint of this creation. So quantum science has seen that if they try to shoot matter through two splits, if they're not set up to observe it as matter, then it acts as a wave. Once, I'm sure you've all heard that everything is always constantly in motion. This is also a Hermetic teaching of vibration. Everything is constantly moving. You've heard me say before, this here is only dense in front of me, the microphone, because that's the perception that we all kind of correlate, that this is actual physical. But in essence, it's just vibrating so slow that it looks like it's still, all the way to the highest vibration that we would call the source, or the one source, which is more than likely all of this that you can't see around me, including what we can see as dense material. That is the darkness in the sky. That is all that one source that we all are in our expression of. That is energy. It is it's a frequency. It's all vibration. Everything is vibrating either so slow that it looks like it's still, or to a point where it's so high that it looks like it's still. Just like the wheel on a car. When you start to see the wheel on a car spin, as it goes faster, it starts to slow down to where it looks like it stops, and then it goes the opposite direction, and it does this back and forth the faster and the faster it goes. there's a certain speed or resonance where these things would be completely still at all varying degrees. This is more likely the best reference for dimensions, just because something is spinning faster at a different resonance, a different dimension, doesn't make it any hierarchy, like the separation Newtonianism. It doesn't make anything finite. Nothing is determined and be able to fit in a little tiny box of what we would call reality. For reality is only this right now experience, because it's gone right there. So what is reality? Because that's a memory. Everything I just said, that ever fleeting second, is just a memory. For the reality is only what you're experiencing and you're tuned into right now. The infinite now, the 0 point. Reality is fractality, quantum fractality. It is all this duplicating pattern of the one source that you are and you see all around you in this repeating pattern. And you are merely it, observing it. So, the paradox of oneness. It requires duality to experience oneness. So, I guess it's quite the paradox after all. For if the one source of everything did not have you to be his physical eyeballs and senses to experience all of it, then it would merely be a thought in its own mind. Yet if you were not in this physical vessel with these physical senses, in this duality reality where we can talk and experience one another, and when it can experience nature, we can experience this duality. The only way we can do that is so that we can to experience that oneness. It takes me to see you and have that heart-to-heart connection, to experience the oneness of reality, or have that heart-to-heart connection with nature. You complete the Trinity from connecting the mind to the heart and express and anchoring that to this 3D reality. The Trinity has layers upon layers upon layers of application. One of them just being the mind and heart connection to reality. The Kabbalion just basically teach, a smallest breakdown I could say of that is you, the source of all things, the one source frequency, God, requires your connection to anchor down into this material realm. The creation of all things requires your connection to the frequency to bridge the gap from above to below to the eternal now of this material realm that we call reality and earth. So now we have all the ancient information correlating with quantum physics. Sounds like everything has come full circle to me. the whole fun thing about all of this, the idea that we're all one and that we're all connected and we can create whatever we want to, is to remember and to realize that this is the prophecy of the here and now, the 2012, the Mayans, the second coming of Christ, any literature ever written all the way back to the Emerald Tablets, to the fall and the rise of Atlantis. Guess what, guys? You are it, here and now. And you all decided to be here to remember exactly this, what you are, so that you can create heaven on earth, a new golden era, many, many, many names through many prophecies to correlate to the here and now, where everything comes full circle again. The old returning to the new, completing the cycle of forgetting and remembering. It's no different than when you go lay down in the bed and close your eyes and go to sleep and you wake back up. You guys just woke up from your nap. Hope you feel better. Hope you're ready to start a brand new motherfucking day. So it's time to wipe the sleep out of your eyes and realize that this is your world and this is your realm. And you can create whatever you wish. If you wish the world to be a better place, then be that better person for the world to reflect. This is yours. You are the masters. You are the one you've been waiting for. You're the rainbow children. You're all the prophecies. You are one, the one. So, now what? Now I finally remembered everything that I was supposed to remember. Now what do I do? Now it's time to master yourself. For all this information is inside of you, so therefore you have to do the work to connect with what's inside of you, to remember, to resonate, to vibrate higher, to a higher frequency, to realize your own quantumness in this reality, because in essence you're releasing a Newtonian idea of Newton laws of science, of separation and materialism, and that everything is matter, measurable. No, everything is quantum, everything is movable, everything is manipulated by your observation. Your thought manipulates your reality. So therefore you have to master yourself. You have to do the inner journey, the work of not being a reaction to what you would call reality, because I just told you reality is just this ever now. So the recording, you are recording the information just like the cell phone on recording a video. If you can connect with that emptiness, that non-attachment that the cell phone has to everything that happens that the cell phone sees, then you are connecting to that one source. Because in essence we've just all been caught up in the movie with the character of who we are. This is an avatar. This is a vehicle that you stepped into to experience everything. Because you are that one source. You stepped into this vessel so that you could experience this. You chose this. So obviously, if you're going to start to master the vessel and you're going to start to master the mind, then you have to release all of history's bullshit. Everything you've ever been taught. Everything. You just have to be like, oh man, I didn't know nothing. Yet I still know nothing. You have to find the comfortable space in the fact that you know nothing, but you can know anything that you would like to know. You know nothing because you cannot experience everything all at once. But tuned into this vessel and tuned into what you are capable, what you have inside of you, you can find out anything that you would like to know. And it is inside of you. But you have to be comfortable with the fact that you know nothing. And you have to release anything that you've ever been taught and start with square one, being yourself. All throughout history, they have tried to tell you, and secretly different ways to remind you, so you would have an affirmation once you remember that all is one. Left a lot of symbols and signs in your past so that you would remember and understand now of what those symbols are and the representations that they meant for you. So like on the top of the 16th chapel, one of the most famous paintings of God with a big cloak behind him touching man on the mountain, touching finger to finger. Well, the cloak behind the man, the figure portrayed as God, is actually a brain. You can superimpose an image of a brain over top of the painting, and God is residing in the center of the brain, and God's hand is coming out of the front of the cranium, the third eye, and touching man's hand, because in the center of your pineal gland is, in the center of your brain is your pineal gland, which is what we might as well just call the seat of God, the seat of the source. So, it's kind of funny. If you were to think that reality is a giant brain, we would be all the neurons, all on the outside of this giant brain. And if everything come from one source, the very beginning, a central light, it would reside in the middle of that entire cosmos of reality, in the center of all of the neurons of that all magnificent brain, the source that we live inside of. In the center of that would be the light, would be its pineal gland. So within the center of the image of which you are created, your brain, lies the pineal gland, which releases what they call the spirit molecule, DMT. It's what's released in your dream. If you mix, you can go see a Peruvian shaman and mix a certain root bark with a inhibitor, so you can ingest plants high in the substance of DMT, and heal yourself and purge all of the bad things out of your body and your mind, and reach these other dimensions or spins on the wheel, or these vibrations, realities, however we would like to portray them, but under the substance, under the use of DMT, the spirit molecule, the seed of God. It kind of makes sense that everything is one. Kind of breaks it down to an actual experience that everything is one. So it's kind of a little cheat, a hack, to use substance to release DMT. It is natural in the brain. You release it when you sleep. Breath work. The most DMT that is released naturally in the body is through breathing. So breath work releases a lot of DMT. I've experienced DMT in many ways. I done an hour breath session one time. It's called a rebirth. It's an hour straight of breath work, and it was a very profound experience. And I imagine due to the fact that it's 1 hour of breathing, and it probably released a lot of natural DMT into my body, to bring upon that connected spiritual experience. This is why meditation and certain things brings on these profound connectivity feelings and visions, because you're connecting to the 0 points. Just like in the center of your brain is your pineal gland, in the center of your body is your heart. So this is why that is the seat of God, and this is where the seat of God needs to sit for the seat of man in the material realm. That's why that heart-mind connection is so profound. This is actually more than likely, this is the Holy Grail. This is the fountain of youth. You can love so damn hard that you'll probably live as long as you want to. That's a fact. If you don't believe me, love harder. Love is the fountain of youth. The real love, not this human idea of love, this frequency that we would call the one source of all creation. Unconditional compassionate love is a scratch of the surface of the source that you are, that one source. Those 3 words does not even come close to explain what this source of everything is that resides inside of you, that you and everything you see is an expression of. Why do you think the earth is so beautiful? Why do you think that you see beauty in so many places? Why do you think one of the most beautiful things that you will ever see is another human act out of the kindness of their heart to help another human being? Why do you think you feel overwhelmed with that? Because that is what you are. That is what's inside of you. That's what you are a duplication of. I like the reference for people who have kids. A mother who's carried the seed of life in her womb for 9 months. And, a newborn baby straight from the source, it's like so connected. It's as soon as that energy hits this material realm outside of the womb and the mother lays its eyes upon it for the very first time, that feeling, that frequency, that is the one source frequency. That is what you would call God. That is the beginning, the creation of everything, is that feeling. That's that frequency. This is why the world is beautiful and is designed to give you whatever you want. But you didn't know that you was creating all this because you were a spiritual baby, or you were just asleep. Like I said, you have to regenerate. You go to sleep and you wake up. So we've done this historically, consciously. We went to sleep and now we're waking back up again to understand that we are quantum beings and that we're all connected and that we are all one, so that we can master our vessel and start to create the Garden of Eden or heaven on earth or the Golden Age era. Basically, we are here and now at this pivotal point of remembrance to understand that we're all one and that we're all connected, so we can live in harmony with one another and with nature. And so you can see this shift in the last 100 years. If one is to think of 1900 to the here and now of 2019, 119 years. The changes in the world, the changes in technology is monumental. It's been a crazy snowball effect for you to be right here, right now. Listen to me tell you exactly what I just said, that you are the one you've been waiting for. You're here and now to remember who you are. The whole last 100 years has been designed so technology could be consciousness. This is consciousness. This is how consciousness works. I am telepathically communicating with you. You just think it's physical, but what's physical about it? You're looking at me on a screen. Well, if you were just listening to the audio, which is on Google Play, you would just be listening to my words. It's just it's a 5 sense audio, but you have more senses and you have more audio capabilities. You are quantum, and so the internet and this communication itself is to kind of show you the quantumness of how reality really is, how exponential it is for you to be right here, right now, in the time that we live in, through this monumental shift, a whole new paradigm, a new age, a new era. You all chose to be here now. So one of the things that we have to work with oneness. And understanding this oneness. The more you understand this, the more it's going to fuck with your mind. You're going to see synchronicities everywhere. People are going to say things you were thinking. You're going to see people talking about things you were thinking on the internet. You're going to hear things on songs with thoughts. Just all these random things. The quantumness of fractality, reality, this reality, the quantumness of it, understanding the essence of who you are and touching into the quantumness of who you are is going to bring out a quantum response to what reality actually is. Luckily enough, we're in 2019 and reality has already left us some pretty concrete clues that what I speak is to be true. The effect that you have on reality and the quantumness of the here and now. There is only the here and now. For everything that you ever thought is a memory, it's not quite in the past nor the present. It is just kind of out there. There's only the here and now. You're recording every moment, but your here and now observation and frequencies that you put into this plasma through your thoughts and your words and your actions manipulates that past and that future at the same time. Because reality is quantum. You are quantum. You are one and connected to all things. 2019, we have the Mandela effect that leaves us for an understanding, a kind of aha moment for this idea of affecting the past and the future, the eternal now, the 0 point. the Mandela effect is where most people, or a large group of people, remember that Nelson Mandela died in like the late 80s, early 90s. And then like 2012, 2015, somewhere in late, or maybe 2007, somewhere in the late 2000s, or early 2000 or so, somebody realized that Nelson Mandela was alive. But the consensus of consciousness of the status quo of memories is that Nelson Mandela died as a martyr in prison. This was my memory, and so it was kind of the first things that, kind of one of those mind-boggling moments of like, what the fuck? I mean, especially when you have a large consensus idea of a thought, of a memory, a conscious awareness of an event, and for it to change. You could come to this understanding of how powerful the here and the now actually is, and how powerful you are, and the quantumness of reality, the fact that you are that one source. So something has happened. We have done something great, I would say, in some sort of time frame that has changed this consensus memory or idea of what that history is that Nelson Mandela had died as a martyr, but instead he became president of the very country that in my reality he had died in as a martyr. And so to me, that is fucking awesome and amazing. I'm glad to be here in this new reality. So let's keep on switching them up till they get even better, right? It's just a little quantumness of who and what you really are, and how powerful oneness, the understanding of oneness, and how powerful you actually are. And how your thoughts, your words, and your actions have a ripple on reality, just like throwing a rock in the pond. It ripples on. Every thought you have, every word you have, every action you have ripples through the quantum plasma of reality, and it creates. You cannot create because you are a master creator. Every thought that you have creates. You are a master creator. You cannot create. You understand that? Everything is being created by thought. Thought. And this 0 point of the here and now is you, the master observer. You are the creator in this plasma that we call reality, which is a fractal duplication. So let's just say that you are the creator of all things that you've ever seen, and I am actually you, telling you what you need to hear to remember who you are. Okay, so now you remember who you are. Now you gotta watch out, because you understand the fact that every single thought comes out of your mind is making a bubble of reality. Another dimension, a parallel world. Every single thought. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Whatever that thought is where you will experience in that bubble. I'm in this reality. Now I'm in this one. And I'm in this one. And I'm in this one. In this reality, all you guys are listening to me. Maybe the more I do this, the more reality bubbles of those who understand the essence of who they are is a pretty nice rock to throw in that ripple. So, Remember that your thoughts create your reality. And start to be an observer of those thoughts. That is to become conscious. Conscious is a big word. Consciousness is a big word. It's kind of scary for people, just like enlightenment. Not really a big fan of either. But they work for a lot of things to try to explain. So let's just call consciousness. We'll call enlightenment consciousness. Alright, so we've tagged those two together. We're going to cram those two together, and we're just going to call it awareness. And that's where you get to that whole new term of awake and asleep. Sounds kind of condescending, but very actual reference. But we're trying to release ego here in this whole idea of separation. So if you start calling people asleep, their ego is not going to like it, and that cloak and that shadow is going to be like, ah! So let's not call people asleep, and let's just try not to call ourselves awake. Be aware. You're becoming aware. And so the more aware you become of yourself and your thoughts, obviously the more aware you become of the things externalized from you. You have to realize that everything that is happening outside of you is part of this whole organism on Earth, which is us humans and our connection to one another. This awareness is spreading. This consciousness is happening faster and faster. It's not anything you can stop. But it's scary, Like I said, oneness can make people want to put themselves in a straitjacket, and some people come so discombobulated with what reality is, they feel safe in their old belief systems, or they come so combobulated with how crazy, how mad reality really is, and then they run into this new age bullshit of the same hierarchy of you need this yogi to obtain enlightenment, or you need this spiritual teacher so you can reach 5D consciousness. Give me some money. That's that same shit. That's that same separation, Newtonian, old paradigm BS with a new face and new glamour. It's easy for people to just jump on that same old bandwagon. It's hard to release everything you've ever been taught. It's hard to transcend all of this energy that we come here to transcend quantumly. We're merging all of these realities into more singular realities. This is more than likely a good explanation for the Mandela effect, is the convergence of multiple dimensions into more maybe a singular reality or something like that. Who knows? Quantumness is still a baby field, but it correlates full circle with ancient teachings that we're all one and we come from the one beginning. This is how we ended up with all the sun worship, these whole ideas of light and dark and angel and demons, blah blah blah. In essence, you are it, you are that one, and these demons is your shadow self, your ego, your idea of separation, and all those actions thereof is all of those things, because you are that. You are God and the devil, you are angels and the demons, you are one with all things. So no need to be mad about history or the past. You have to just let all that shit go. Everything you've been taught, all the lies, all the ideas, just all that shit, just let it go. Try to be here, be now, be aware of your thoughts, be an outside observer of who you are, because that's actually who you are. This is your car, your vehicle. So be that outside observer and go from there. There is no finish line. You can't become a yogi or get that 5D, 12D, 25,000D consciousness and you're done. Shit don't work like that. This is a journey of experience, and there is no finish line. It is to become more aware of the experience and enjoy it. And so awareness is a constant thing because we live in this duality. We have all of these expressions of this one source to interact with, and during this interaction brings us the practice of awareness. Awareness of the beauty of the sun, awareness of the beauty of a rainy day, awareness of the beauty in even the most hurtful person that you could ever imagine that would hurt another person. You have to see that there is still a beauty that lies within inside of everything, and that's in an awareness. And to stay in that awareness, to practice that awareness, is a never-ending journey, because you have to start with your thoughts, because that is manipulating this quantum plasma of reality. And so watching that thought, being aware of every single thought, that is going to keep you pretty busy for a good while. So that's a good start to understand oneness in the quantum reality of how all this stuff works. So that inner knowledge, that inner knowing, that inner discovery of realizing that you're one with all things, becoming aware of yourself. Start to apply that awareness in your everyday life, your every action, your every thought, and your every word. It's going to keep you pretty busy. And just move on from there. You always have to watch that shadow. That shadow is you, that shadow self, the ego. It's always lurking to keep you fixated on the idea of separation, and that you are your name and your body, and keep you fixated on those five senses. Keep you fixated on that Newtonianism, that small box of everything is measurable and finite. So become aware of that shadow self, of that ego, once you have to obtain the smallest piece of it to stay here and now in this physical body. Being aware of the five senses and of the body is being connected to the ego. We'll just call it the physical, because people don't like the word ego, but it has a lot of bad things that come along with it. But you have to keep that small physical attachment to the here and now, but it's going to be a lot of work, because the shadow, that idea of self, is always going to come up to you and be right in your face. And so being aware of your thoughts, and the idea that everybody and everything you see is a reflection of yourself. So becoming self-aware of your own thoughts and how they vibrate with your body, and then become aware of your interaction with yourself and one another, because every interaction you have with every person is an expression of you or that one source. So every person you talk to, you're talking to the source, God. Every time you talk to yourself, the same thing. Become aware of that self-talk, aware of those thoughts. Try to keep them on the good side, from the heart, from love. And then apply this as much as you can. Oh, we got any questions or comments before we start to wrap this up? Enjoy all you guys. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Glad you all stopped to listen in, to share an experience, a fellowship. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. It's more like we are all spirit. We are all the one. We are all spirit having a human experience. Because we are all one with that one source, that spirit. Any advice on DMT? No one can ever give you any advice on any... I don't really want to classify DMT as a psychedelic, but it pretty well falls up into that category. But no one can give you a heads up on their experience, or what to expect from a psychedelic experience, especially DMT. Every experience is different, and if you were to do it multiple times, every experience you have will more than likely be different. Everything is about setting. You want to be in a safe environment where you feel comfortable, and around people that you trust, and you feel safe with. Everything is about energy and vibration. Everything. Particularly whenever you are to go out and experience psychedelics or anything relating to spiritual connection, you will want to have the correct settings, the external setting, surroundings, obviously. So my advice would be open-minded, clear-minded, and enjoy. Go in with no expectations. You'll have no disappointments. Yeah, breath work definitely releases DMT. I've experienced an hour breath work. Like I said, pretty freaking intense. I seen the light inside myself. That was pretty cool. We have any questions that I didn't address before we wrap it up here for the night? This is the 27th episode of Higher Frequencies for all you new listeners. Started sometime around this time last year in January. The very first episode was called Sorry for the Good News. I was talking about all the changes and all those things that's been going on for so long now, and how to not be afraid, because everything's all good. And so this is the first one of 2019. I definitely recommend everyone listening to go check out the last episode of last year. It's episode 26. It's called The Game, Speak Life. It is basically all last year kind of wrapped up into this little 1 hour episode. Highly recommended to go check that out. You can find it on YouTube, find it on the website and Facebook. You can listen on Google Play and iTunes for free also. So all you new guys, you can go check out some of that old content, and for all you listeners, definitely check out the last one from last year. I think it's pretty cool that this one started out with Oneness and everything that come through behind the last one they wrapped up last year. I always enjoy doing these. I learn as I go with you guys. This one here is a little odd sequence. I try to do these every other Thursday at 8:30, but I only do them when I feel moved to do them. So schedule is kind of hit and miss sometimes, but maybe that'll change. But you guys can find us on Facebook, under Higher Frequencies NC. You can find us on YouTube at Higher Frequencies. And you can find the website higherfrequencies5d.com. It has all of the episodes. YouTube has all of the episodes, and Facebook has all of the episodes. The audio on iTunes and Google Play will only be the last 10 episodes. Alright, guys. I definitely appreciate all you guys joining me tonight, and I hope you all have a blessed fractality reality. Remember, you are the creator of your life. Be aware of what you're thinking and what you're saying and what you're doing. And be the change that you want to be. Be the change that you want to see in the world. So understand that you are one with all things. Be aware of all those thoughts, words, and actions, and be that change. And then watch how much the world around you actually changes. Welcome to the quantum reality. Peace and love. Namaste.